We're back again. Sorry for the delay, guys. We're just eating, getting things ready, I guess. And we're still eating, so which is fine. But anyway, we're back. It's another Red Devil Studio Live podcast, the last one of the year 2019. This is going to be a brief mid-season review. We're going to have also some Banter Academy and Icon Academy discussions, VAR, and a few other things. Hopefully, we won't want this to be too long because we know obviously a lot of people will be busy doing so many other things. So we'll try and keep this as short of a podcast as possible. We're also getting you guys involved. Shout out to Don Ragnar and stuff as well, who's been waiting for us to go live. Sorry about that, buddy. But anyway, I've been joined again by the usual regulars by
Shawnee.
And essentially we're going to start with a mid-season review. Okay, we're going to look back at how the season's been so far in basically Premier League table order. A brief comment on some of the teams, and then we'll basically take things from there. So like I said, for those who are just tuning into the channel, please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, UnitedX, and smash that notification button to get involved in the latest videos. And a good shout out to Don Ragnar again. So let's go with the first team, where I think it's worth discussing because they're first, and that is Liverpool FC. And obviously we have a Liverpool fan in Shawnee here. So what else can you say about Liverpool in that? Is this how you expected? What can you say about this team?
I wasn't
halfway through the season.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to go undefeated, or as far as what we've got now. You know, I was we had a really good start last season. Excuse me, and then obviously we had City always on our tails because I think if I remember correctly, we were top at Christmas last season as well. And then City overtook us at some stage. So yeah, we also had a good start last season. Was I expecting to be at this stage of the season having won everything apart from one game? You know, I think it's what how many games have been played now? 20?
20, yeah.
20 games. We've drawn one, so like 19 wins and one draw. I didn't expect that. Even though I said in our previous podcast that's what Liverpool would have to do to win the Premiership, because you know City finished so incredibly strong, and so I wasn't expecting Liverpool to do as well as this, and I wasn't expecting City to do as bad as what they're doing either.
Okay. Any other comments about Liverpool? So,
just I feel like I remember saying something about how Liverpool were just like they're a team. Liverpool are more of a team than anybody else in the league. I think Old Man G was talking about Man United. It's kind of like individual performances. They don't really look like a team, which are kind of got them to this fifth spot, which they are now. And Liverpool is kind of like every single person knows what they're doing. The team doesn't really change much apart from this Christmas period where it had to because of injuries and resting people. But yeah, at the end of the day, the best team, as in total, wins the league. So with a bit of luck, and Liverpool have, VAR. No, I'm joking. But yeah, they're the best team by far.
I think
it's true. VAR has helped Liverpool.
It's helped a lot of people, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true.
Apparently it's helped Southampton the most. So just putting it out there because everyone's like, VAR's really? Like the court did a VAR league. We'll talk about VAR in a second, but basically it said that out of all the teams, Southampton the team that's benefited the most. Now where's Southampton in the league right now? So
15.
I don't think people can say, oh my goodness, it's completely destroyed the whole league. Where the team that have had the most decisions in their favour are 15th in the league. So, but I mean. My premium with Liverpool, my points to Liverpool is that I think in my prediction, I remember I said that Liverpool would actually, I feared them. I thought Liverpool would win the league. I remember saying at the start of the season, I was like, the reality is that Liverpool were basically one game away from going undefeated last season and winning the Premier League. Like, you know, as I keep on saying to a lot of people, sorry about that. That one game was basically the difference between Liverpool winning the title that season and also going the whole season undefeated. So people are like, oh my goodness, Liverpool. I think the only difference maybe you could argue is that this season Liverpool have only drawn one game. But people shouldn't forget the fact that last season Liverpool finished on 97 points. And bearing in mind, Leicester City won the league on 81 points.
And the Invincibles was 80 something.
Yeah. So the reality is that they had 90 and they still lost the league based on that one game, in my opinion, where they lost to Manchester City. So is it a surprise? I don't think it's a surprise for me that Liverpool are top of the league. And I did think that I think as soon as they sold company, didn't get any defenders in. I was like, I thought they're going to struggle without Company not being there. I think for me, the big thing was just that I didn't think that Liverpool would win as many games as they were. I thought maybe they might get one or two from the draws, something like that. I didn't think that, aside from United, that they would win every other game. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's almost like the game against Barcelona was it like a turning point, like not just for last season, for this season too, because obviously they were what was it, Barcelona 3-0 at the at the flipping Nou Camp.
Nou Camp, yeah.
And like ever since then, it's kind of like every game you're like, okay, Liverpool, they're gonna grind a result somehow. Two or three games this season, Liverpool have been down. They're down against Newcastle, beat them 3-1. Down against Villa, 90 plus minutes, beat them 2-1. Leicester, Milner penalty, 90 plus 6 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So like,
that's what champions do.
Yeah.
Champions just they get a result.
You're right. This is a different type of champion. This is the thing. This is a different because you're right. But almost every City won City did. They won a league game last year, but City lost games. City drew games. Just that Liverpool drew more games in that sense, So, but for a team to basically, and City have never gone a Premier League season, which may have Liverpool unbeaten.
Yeah.
Yes, they haven't.
I mean, that's really tough to do, isn't it? We've still got 18 games left. So 18 games left of the season. A lot of really tough games. We still got Wolves to come at the end of the. I mean, Wolves gave us a really, really good run for our money. Yesterday, day before yesterday.
Yesterday.
Wolves are brilliant.
Yeah. So we got to go to Molineux at the end of January. So still a lot of tough games. 18 games. Excuse me. At this stage, they're all tough. They're all tough games to have that we got coming up, because everyone's going to look at Liverpool now as just a free hit. It's just like who cares? Let's just give it a go, and let's just see if we can knock them off the top, knock them off their streak. That's just how they're going to view Liverpool now. So every game is going to be a hard game. It doesn't matter if it's Villa, Watford, anyone's just going to have a go, have a pop, just see if we can get us off the streak. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so it's gonna be tough to go undefeated all season.
Well, I guess the question is, and we'll move on quickly. So sorry, but is who do you think will actually beat Liverpool? Because
Wolves was tough. I mean, really, even if Wolves got an equaliser yesterday, I would have thought to myself, fair enough, because they played really, really well. Probably the toughest team that we've faced this season, including Champions League football. Really, really, they gave us a really, really tough time. Dare I say they did play a little bit chicken. They always had a lot of men behind the ball, but it's Anfield, isn't it? So you that's what you want to do. You want to try and frustrate Liverpool. You want to try and draw them out. We got a goal which meant Wolves had to come out. They didn't come out too much though. So that's what I mean. Every game's going to be a tough game now. I think it doesn't matter whether it's Watford or Villa or whoever it is that you're facing. They're just going to look at this as just like, well, let's give it a go. Like, let's just see if we can knock them off their win streak. No one's expecting us to win. Let's just go in there and just give it a shot. And that's dangerous because that puts relaxation into players. And it just Liverpool, the closer they get to the end, especially once they start getting to the point where it's like, okay, if we win the next game, that means we win the title. They're just going to start Villa is going to start looking like a high pressured game. You know, if you have to go to Villa to win the title, it's going to look more tough than we're just going to Villa.
That is true.
Result,
that is true.
so.
That is true. I agree. And I guess the question is, will Liverpool final season be able to deal with the pressure on them? That is true.
Yeah.
So I
they
guess
they should be able to, because we've been in the Champions League final twice in a row over the last couple of seasons. So they know how to deal with pressure. They know what cup finals do, but Premiership title the league title is different, isn't it? It's massive. So can we first of all win it, and can we go undefeated? It's two different questions. So
we haven't moved on from Liverpool yet.
Well, we're gonna move on from Liverpool. I know. But I guess
that should have been the quickest one.
That's it. let us move on now. So I think this is the big surprise. I think is Leicester City, because Leicester City are entering 2020 second place in the Premier League. I don't think any one of us in the prediction had Leicester City. I did say, I know a few people that said that Leicester City were a strong team, but I don't think anyone had Leicester City as in the top four in any of their predictions at all. So this is probably the biggest
I don't think any
surprise.
pundit...
I think that was probably because of the change in Brendan Rodgers. Obviously he's a good manager, a good coach, but it's hard just getting your thing straight across to the players straight away. But the players have been very receptive, and they just look like a team who wants to play for their manager. So, and when you got Jamie Vardy, who's criminally underrated, because people like Kane is a very good striker, but I don't think any of us here sitting down, would put.
We'll talk about Kane in a second, because I will be curious to see whether you guys would put him in, the Icon Academy or the Banter Academy. So because I don't know what Kane really has done for Spurs this season. I mean, yes, he has scored a few goals, but for me, he's disappeared in most of their big games when they needed him. But anyway, and they both the penalty goals, so I don't know, but that's just me. But anyway, back to Leicester City. Surely, so you're about to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just literally about to say, I don't think anyone had them second at Christmas. No pundit, no one. So full credit to them, because a lot of quality in their team. Ndidi, Talisman. I'm a big fan of Talisman. Actually, I still haven't taken him out of my fantasy football. He's still in there. Yeah, he's still in there. He doesn't get me many points, but he does the dirty work. He does that job that no one wants to do. But at the same time, he's just got real class about him. Quality passes, final balls. Could do with a few more assists.
Yeah, that's what he could probably add to his game.
Yeah.
Because it's only really Maddison, I would say, who's the kind of major assist. Maybe Pereira's got a few assists as well this season. Yeah, that's it. So he could do a bit more of that.
And Vardy does everything. He assists, scores. He's just fantastic, isn't he? So yeah, it's Leicester's just a great team. That's something else, wasn't it? They're great to watch as well. they're quite a fun team. When we just recently played them and it was 4-0 away at the King Power Stadium. It's almost like they were a little frightened. They maybe just sort of were looking at all the hype surrounding Liverpool, going, they're unstoppable, they're unbeaten.
I also think, though, I think Brendan Rodgers, set up. I mean, I think he played James Maddison on the left or something like that. So I think they did seem to change their team. Yeah, and I guess that shows how much respect teams have for Liverpool, and that every time they play Liverpool, teams feel like right. Yeah. Let's change it up. Let's change the way we normally play.
Yeah.
I can't think of
Was that to stop Mane or Robertson?
Possibly, I don't know, but
there's only one way to play Liverpool, and that's how Sheffield, Wolves,
United
did
3-5-2.
Yeah, that's the only way to play Liverpool.
Yeah.
If you don't stop Trent.
Yeah, it's funny. I honestly thought I know this is a United fan channel, but I honestly thought Wolves played better than United, but United got the draw.
Yeah, I'd agree. Although we play, but I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I'm not putting a damper on the United performance. Brilliantly played. I just thought Wolves just played to the wire. Just fantastic. Or dare I say, if I came away with a draw, I would have been like, all right, fair enough. They played that well that
I agree.
You give them a draw.
I think the physicality of some of the players, you're putting a Dama Troy there, so. Yeah. who I didn't think has necessarily his best game, but
I tell you what, Cater had him on his backside a couple of times, you know.
Wait a minute, hang on for a second. We're talking about Leicester now. We're talking about Liverpool now.
Again.
Sorry, Sean, you got to moderate this.
Yeah.
Let's keep it.
It's been 20 odd years.
Let's keep it about Leicester, but we'll move on from Leicester. But I think the guess key is that I think everyone can agree that Leicester City are here to stay, and there's a very good chance that frankly Leicester City are probably going to get top 4 this season. In which case, one of the bigger teams is obviously going to miss out. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So moving on, Manchester City. Now, I mean, again, Georgia B, Wolves deserve the draw. Shout out to Georgia B. Thanks for tuning in, man. I also think that Wolves deserve the draw, but VAR. But we'll talk about VAR later. Manchester City. Now, I don't think people expected that this winter season, Manchester City were going to be third place. But here they are, somewhat luckily at times, having lost to teams like Wolves, like Norwich, like Manchester United, a very weak Manchester United side. They also lost to Wolves again, I forget, twice, sorry, and obviously lost to Liverpool. But, you know, I don't think anyone expected that, you know, and are Man City because I feel Man City are in a even though they're third, they're in a semi-crisis here, in that there is a possibility that Pep Guardiola could go this season without winning a trophy. They are in the Carabao
Cup.
Well, they're in the Carabao. They're playing Manchester United in the semi-final in a 2-leg semi-final. That's not guaranteed, given that Manchester United have already beaten City this season, and then they'll face Leicester City in the final. So that's not necessarily guaranteed. FA Cup, likewise. Champions League, they've got Real Madrid. There's a very big possibility that City will finish the season without a trophy. Is this a crisis in United right now?
If that does happen, I guess you would say that Pep really needs to pick it up, because I don't think they're happy with. I don't think the board would be happy with the fact that they've given him all the backing, all the support they could possibly any manager could possibly dream of, and not come away with nothing. Even if they become second, and he's like, well, you know, we were challenging. You would think that, because don't forget, I think it was like Harry Kane, Pep Guardiola were always like going, oh, Liverpool spent all that money, they better perform, they better come away with something.
Oh,
you know,
Pep was saying we can't compete or something like that.
Pep was saying this nonsense. Shout out to Guru Buddha. Yeah, me too. Just finished watching RVP and Rashford. That must have been live streamed. RVP versus Rashford or something.
Why would you want to watch that?
That. He's a Manchester United fan, isn't he? So it's just I know you don't like Van Pagan as you call him, you know. So like, but Van Persie was a don, you know, and it's Mason Greenwood kid reminds me of him as well. So
yeah.
So what we're saying, actually?
No, we were just saying that Pep
basically was being bantered.
Harry Kane, Pep Guardiola, and there was somebody else as well. I think it might have been. Excuse me. I can't remember who the other guy was, but they were all like, they were all on Liverpool's.
Let's
backs.
keep this to City, Sean. By the way, like with Liverpool again.
This is City.
Okay.
So Pep Guardiola was basically like saying Liverpool have spent all that money. They better perform, and they better you know. And I don't know how much money he spent on players. So to not come away with a cup, or to not, is basically him being not a hypocrite, but if he has set the standards for Liverpool to like say, okay, you spent all that money, you got to get yourself a cup, then he'll you know, what's he going to say? He's going to eat his words by because he spent probably the same about the same amount, and came away with nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
So
Georgia B says, didn't City win Community Shield? Pep called that a trophy. And they call a treble. It's not. The Community Shield is not a trophy. Let's be real. Pep needs to sit down.
Is that the Charity Shield?
Yeah, the Charity Shield, Community Shield. I mean, come on, let's be real.
If you're going to count the Charity Shield as a trophy, that means back in 2001, Liverpool would have won the quadruple.
Yeah. Don Wagner, Pep Guardiola's hairline doesn't need any more stress. I agree, it doesn't. But I think the reality is that and obviously this is halfway through the season. City could easily pepper United and get a Carabao Cup, but I think if you're City and after the season, all you can say is you won a Carabao Cup, I'd argue that's probably a very disappointing season.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, Carabao. I mean, no one really cares about.
Nobody cares about the Cup.
Yeah.
Liverpool didn't care about it. That's why they sent a B squad there while they won the the Club World Cup.
Got a massive backlash for that, by the way, Klopp. So
I'm not sure why, given that like it was but we won't go into that because that's another story. So I guess with City is the question of watch this space. We will be doing obviously a Champions League preview when that comes back in February. But I think Man City could possibly argue that things could be better for them. Moving on to someone who I feel has probably got, who I think people didn't expect to perform so well, is a Chelsea. Chelsea FC in Frank Lampard's Chelsea, are fourth place. Team Takagi, we looked at the predictions, and I think there were a few of us that did predict Chelsea in the top four, and Team Takagi, you were one of them.
That was the first.
OJ and a few others were like, nah, but you said you were.
Plastic fans.
So what do you think about Chelsea so far?
Chelsea look okay. Like, they were flying at the start of the season after they lost to Man U, and I think the next game was a draw, which I think they deserved to win. But after that, they were flying. There's been a couple weird losses, like especially at home, like Bournemouth, Sheffield, and there was another one. Not Sheffield, I'm not talking about.
Bournemouth, West Ham,
and there was another one.
Yeah, just recently, Southampton.
So it was like a goal, like they didn't answer. It was 2-0 to Southampton and stuff. So there's been a couple of weird ones, but this is his first season. They can sign people in January now.
Can they?
Yeah. So the transfer ban's out the way. I mean, if Nathan Ake
could come back.
Yeah. There's, I think I don't know how much they would have to pay to recall for him, but he would be brilliant.
They could do with him at the moment.
That's what I'm saying. And what I like about Lampard, I know they got really, really lucky. I'm an Arsenal fan. Jorginho shouldn't have been on the pitch, but what Lampard did at 30 minutes, if they lost the game, he probably might have been criticised for it, taking a player off. But he changed the from three centre backs and wing backs to 4 at the back, because Emerson was just getting destroyed by Reece Nelson, Reece Nelson, who's like 19. Yeah. He changed it to 4 at the back, and they looked way better. So. Yeah. Got to give credit to Lampard for doing things like that, bold moves. He said at the start of the season, he doesn't want to be a Klopp, doesn't want to be a Mourinho, doesn't want to be a Guardiola. He wants to be his own person. And I think like when Chelsea win, they win pretty good. Apart from the last game, like all the other Chelsea wins I've seen this season have been either great comeback performances, like the one against Ajax, which I think ended in a draw, but they played so well. And all the other games, they've just looked really comfortable. Four goal games, 5 goal games. So Lampard, I think he deserves everything that's coming to him. And if you think about it, Chelsea are only going to get stronger. So that's Chelsea. Boom.
A lot of injuries come back. What's that fella's name?
Loftus-Cheek.
No.
Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah.
He came on against Arsenal.
Yeah, he
looks as if he's not been injured.
Yeah. No, full credit. I'm almost exactly the same as what Team Chicago just said there. I think he's doing okay, and I'd keep him on. Exactly the same thing as I would do Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Which, by the way, there's not much difference between them. What is that now? 4 points?
4 points, yeah. I mean, my only thing with Chelsea, would be, I guess, is that is an element of inconsistency. So because while Chelsea did beat Arsenal, I don't necessarily think that Chelsea overall played a particularly brilliant game. They seem to play a lot better away from home, which is fair enough. But the losses to much like United in a way, but losses to Southampton at home, Bournemouth at home, hadn't won until they met Chelsea, and obviously the loss will be challenging. And this is bearing in mind that Chelsea, as far as we haven't really... Okay, yes, they beat Arsenal in the Emirates. But they will still obviously have to play City and Liverpool and United at Stamford Bridge. There are a few other big teams that have to go to Stamford Bridge. And if they already struggle with the smaller teams, then let alone what's going to happen when... I think even Arsenal go to Stamford Bridge at the end of this month. So Arsenal have to go there. Liverpool have to go there. City have to go there. United have to go there. So you could easily see a situation where if they can't beat small teams, they could easily lose. That's 4 big teams, 12 teams. I think Wolves have still got to go there. So they could easily lose 12, 15 points just from those teams alone if they can't beat, the small teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's my only opinion.
I think Chelsea would agree. They've got to pick it up, and I mean, you can't just be a giant killer all the time. That's it. Even Norwich has proven that.
Well, it just seems it's just like their away record is not similar to like Arsenal last season, where Arsenal's home record was pretty good.
Yeah.
But their away form was diabolical.
Right.
And I feel that the only thing with Chelsea missing out on top 4 is that if this becomes a pattern, because they've lost at least quite a few of their home games this season, if this becomes a regular pattern, then they'll end up missing out on top 4 just due to that alone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
If you want to have consistency losing home games, home and away, winning home and away, as opposed to one or the other.
It's going to be interesting, the Chelsea United now. Because they're going to be sort of battling it out.
Well, speaking of United, this is what you guys have been waiting for. Georgia B. Ollie would kill for the Carabao. I'm sure he would, to be honest. I think that's United's level right now, is the Carabao Cup. We're on to Manchester United. And Manchester United obviously start 2020 5th place. I'm not going to lie. I remember at the start of the year podcast, I said I didn't think the United were going to get top 4. And I said that with the squad that we have, if there's no additions to the squad, this is like a 5th or 6th place team. And sure enough, we're 5th. So despite my annoyance with Ollie's tactics and the way things are and how he played, I think the only reason why I see it has been frustrating as a United fan is more the fact that that the season's been so poor. As in, I didn't expect Spurs to be so bad. I didn't expect Arsenal to be so bad. I didn't expect Chelsea to be very inconsistent. I didn't expect even City to drop as many points as they've done. Because they've dropped more points. I didn't expect that. So if United could just be good, somewhat like be a bit consistent, we could easily. Yeah. I looked at the table. I was like, we've drawn 7 games. If you convert those draws to win, United are 2nd.
Yeah.
Forget even about the losses. If you convert those 7 draws to win, United are 2nd. And at least 6 out of 7 of those losses...
You can talk to me about draws.
I know.
Yeah.
But the most frustrating thing is that at least 6 out of 7 of those losses came when we were in winning positions.
Yeah.
Dropping points and winning positions. Sheffield United winning position. Villa, I think, winning position. Wolves winning position, Southampton winning. We drop points in winning positions. It's not good enough.
It's that clean sheet, isn't it?
And the clean sheet, yeah, we've had our worst of clean sheets for ages. We haven't kept them at all. But at the same time, I guess, and Don Newback even says, "Here we go, Volleyball FC." I guess the only thing I could say is that when I look back, my prediction was we'd be 5th, and we're 5th, based on the squad that we have. And the key question is the board in the summer going to invest in this United team? Because if the board invests, if we get additional midfield players, if we get a right winger, but more so midfield is the most important position, attacking midfielder, link up play number 10, then I think we could push on to get top 4. But if we don't, we will struggle because we don't have the squad depth.
Yeah.
Don says United have been granted so many opportunities to break into the top 4 for the failure of other teams around us, but they just don't capitalise on the chances, which I agree with. Shawnee, what are you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, I agree. The thing is to convert them draws into wins, because for the longest time Liverpool had that same problem, and I'm not going on to Liverpool again, but we did have that 10-year run of where we were in winning positions. We'd come away with a draw. This was like West Brom or something. We'd be winning against. We'd be 2-0 up, and then we'd end the game 2-2. And it's just like how did that happen? And the difference is that conceding the goals. That was the difference. And I think that's where the turnaround has come from now. And if I was to transfer that onto Man United, that's what they need to do. They need to focus on that clean sheet. Okay, fine, you're up 1-0. Great winning position, even 2-0. So at 2-0, how do you now stop the team from first of all coming back? And it is that whole thing of suffocation.
I don't think the thing is because, like, to be honest, when United have been at least 2 goals up, they've not lost a game.
No, right.
So they've not. So usually if United score 2 goals, I'm usually like, the game's done, it's over. We've never really surrendered a 2-0 lead in the league this season. The issue usually is 1 goal, and the issue with United a lot of the time is that we. Raymond Moore, shout out to Raymond Moore. Thank you for joining the stream. The issue is actually United in the games they've lost have had the majority of possession.
Mm-hmm.
So you would be right if what you said, what you were saying, and I think there's an truth to it. But you're right in saying that when a team loses a game with the majority of possession, doesn't mean that they're not dominating. It doesn't mean they're not suffocating.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean they have the ball. So how is it that you're losing games despite having a lot of the ball? You're either losing or dropping points. And the only reason why a team, for me, loses games or drop points despite having a possession is that they're not taking their chances and not creating their chances.
Yeah.
Because City, they dominate possession, they score goals, game over. United dominate possession but don't create chances to create goals, and I think that's the problem. At least in my opinion, anyway. Yeah. So. Team Takagi, do you have anything to say to United?
No.
We're coming to Arsenal in a second, but the problem is that we're going in league order, and it's actually going to take some time to get to Arsenal Football Club. So we'll just clarify that.
Nothing to say about dodgy club.
We're still taking some time to get to Arsenal. We've got a few teams to get before we get to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Raymond Moore, all teams seem to have inconsistent problems except for Liverpool this season. United not the only one, which I agree with. And Georgia B. Ollie's dodgy substitution haven't helped close out games, which is a fair point. Although he has done 1 or 2 tactical ones where he did. I think one against Leicester in particular, which was good. Let's put United aside because we're going to have to quickly speed on. We've got so many other teams, 15 other teams to go through. So quick comment on Spurs. Spurs are obviously 6th place. Obviously the big thing with Spurs was Pochettino got sacked. And then suddenly Mourinho came in, and they look like they've sort of got a bit of a bounce. But Spurs, what's happened?
I don't think much. I don't think they're doing too much wrong. They're just like building a different system. You can tell that Mourinho has got the team playing a little higher than what they were doing under Mauricio Pochettino. And it just takes a while for players to get used to the different system. I don't know whether Jose was trying to implement his system immediately, but yeah, it just takes the players time. But they are playing a lot better. Son is a bit of a blow for them. It'll be interesting to see because I don't think he's back for another 2 games. One game. He's definitely out for another game.
Yeah, it's straight through. So I think it's 1 more game.
1 more game. Okay.
So I think this is so January. So we'll be back next week, January 10th, when they do those. Yeah.
Okay. So that, and he's going to be nice and fresh. And
Georgia B says Delhi's showing you live, and Team Tag1 says Kane is a fraud. What about Harry Kane? Because we did talk about Harry Kane briefly. And let me know in the comments, guys. Is Harry Kane a fraud? Because
I mean, I was never a massive fan of Kane to start with. Anyway,
okay.
Like I was never. You'd struggle to find me a striker that I wouldn't put in front of Kane, like in the Premier League.
Kane or Firmino?
Firmino, like all day long. But he's a fox in the box. You don't want him getting the ball at his feet in the box. But the thing is not a lot. He doesn't always get a chance like that. Getting the ball at his feet in the box. So it's just like he's a bit of a one-trick pony, and he gets maybe a little more credit than what he deserves. Really, that's just in my opinion. I couldn't see him at any bigger club than Spurs. You wouldn't see him at a Bayern Munich or Paris Saint-Germain or something like that.
Maybe. Because Lewandowski for me is almost like a Kane in a way, in the sense of like I don't think Lewandowski does that much.
Yeah.
Outside of he's a brilliant finisher and he's probably a better finisher in my opinion than Kane. But I don't think in terms of the build-up play, in terms of outside of that Lewandowski offers a lot. So that's why that's why for me in big games, he often goes missing.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't offer much outside of his ability to score goals in different ways.
Well, put it this way: if someone said, okay, it's Liverpool against an unknown team in the Champions League final, Kane and Lewandowski are the strikers. One of them, you have to give one chance at goal from one of these two strikers. Who would you give it to? I definitely wouldn't give it to Lewandowski. I just give that chance to Kane because there's more chance of him fluffing it up.
Where was Lewandowski against? People forget, but Liverpool played Bayern. People talk about Barcelona in the fact that like Liverpool dismantled Barcelona, but people have forgotten that Liverpool last year dismantled Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
like actually. And this was home and away. They dismantled Bayern Munich absolutely
really
completely.
Well them,
Where was Lewandowski there? Lewandowski was nowhere to be seen. I don't think he even scored a goal over those 2 legs, Lewandowski.
It's true.
It's like, yes, I'm the best player, the best from 9. Okay, where were you though, over 2 legs? Where your team was being bantered by Liverpool. So yeah,
it's true. It's true. Like,
anyway, we're not. This isn't a Bundesliga talk, is it? It's about Spurs. So It's Kane and stuff. So
it's a no. It's a no from me for Kane. I think he's at the right. He's at the right club. He's at the right club.
Raymond Moore says Kane is world class. Would love him at United. I think it's the way that we play, because if we want to play quick, fast, counter-attacking football, Harry Kane is not going to. Harry Kane's not quick. So it would slow us down. I think the only difference to me between Kane and Lukaku is that Kane is a much better finisher. And his link-up play is better. Kane's link-up and hold-up play is better than Lukaku, much so. But if you want to play quick, fast, pressing, counter-attacking football, then you can't have Kane in your squad. You can't, in my opinion. John Magnus says, I can sense implosion at Spurs under Mourinho. Can't see them bringing in any players that are better than what they have. It's a fair point. I think a fair point. We'll see what happens in the January transfer window. Anyway, moving on. Just because we've got quite a few. Georgia B says Kane equals Lukaku. Fair enough. Lukaku seems to be doing okay at Inter. Next team is Wolves, and this is another team that, despite arguably being in the same position they were last season, because we're now on to 7th now, and Wolves did finish 7th. So Wolves are 7th. So here's that for consistency. Here we are. But I think the difference with Wolves now is that you see a team that, we thought would struggle because they're playing Europa League football, like a lot of teams have. And yet not only have they lost a few games at the start of the season, but they've got into their stride. They've got through to the knockout stage of the Europa League, and they're 7th place in the Premier League. And obviously they've bantered Man City twice in the season. So shout out to Wolves.
Yeah.
What can you say about this Wolves?
Also, the performance against Liverpool, I think probably, like I say earlier on, probably better performance from Wolves than it was from Man United when they went up against them. But Man United drew, and we got all 3 points off Wolves. But brilliant team, like not just in the Premiership, by the way, also in Europe as well. Because the last team, it was 4-0 against what was it, that Dutch side?
It wasn't AZ Alkmaar because I was on the team, but I know you're talking. I think
4-0. I mean, that's a brilliant result. So like it's not just Premiership. They're doing brilliant. They're really fun. Great to watch as well. And a lot of great players. Hopefully they can keep hold of their players for next season as well. That's what I'd rather. I don't know about anybody else. I'd rather have Jimenez than Kane. Just as an
Jimenez, yes,
he's fantastic.
Jimenez is definitely a good shout out forward. So he's definitely had a lot more consistency than probably Harry Kane. In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the only team that kind of put them away was Chelsea, I believe.
Yeah, Chelsea and Monley, which was, I think that might have been
5-2, which I don't know.
I don't know how.
I don't know what happened because all the other games have been by one goal, and all the other losses they've had And they've only had one more loss, and that was against Spurs. Everything else has been one goal, or draw. So, I think Wolves have lost 3 times this year. They've got a couple draws, but I think their next game is against. I'm not entirely
Wolves.
sure. Yeah, is it Watford?
Wolves have.
We're going to a preview, but the Wolves' next game is against. Yeah, I think it's Watford. I think you're right.
So, I mean, Watford do well, but we'll get onto them anyway. But yeah, so Wolves, like, they're almost like a solidified sort of top 8, top 8, 7 team.
Dangerous team.
Yeah, it's the type of game like you'll go through the list and you'll be like, oh, we can maybe pick up points against Brighton, maybe pick up points against Norwich. Pick
Watford.
Yeah. Pick up points against West Ham, but then you see Wolves and you're thinking, maybe only you'll have, if you do win, it's going to be a grind.
Yeah.
And they can very easily beat us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just the way they set up. They set up to counter attack.
Yeah.
And yeah, Wolves are doing brilliant. So yeah, moving on.
Fair play to them as well. I don't think Leicester and Wolves are like no one expected them to be where they are. I don't think. Brilliant. Well done.
Who's next?
So moving on, just a few. Raymond Moore says that Wolves player damn look like WWE wrestler more than football player.
That's right. Yeah.
Have you seen the picture of him when he was skinny? When he used to play for Villa or someone?
No.
Man, he was like a twig.
He was a twig.
Seriously.
Fair enough. So he's guys
he
bulked
looked like
up.
Daniel James.
So and George B says Adam is Daniel James on steroids.
I didn't even see that. That's
so there you go. So look at Adama Traore. Actually, like he actually played for Barcelona when he was younger at one point.
Yeah, he's Spanish, isn't he?
Yeah. So if you actually look, he actually played for Barcelona when he was like really young. I think he was 18 something. And if you look at that, he is tiny. He is absolutely tiny, guys. So this guy looks like he's bulked up, but he's kept his pace. Which I think is the difference. So fair play. Moving on to another team that I think has surprised a lot of people in 8th. We're still not at Arsenal, by the way, just as a shout out. Just so people are aware, we'll come to Banter FC in a second. Sheffield United obviously came up from the Championship, managed under Chris Wilder. I put in some very good performances, and I'm currently trying to close in on Europe actually. They're now obviously in 8th place, but how good have Sheffield United been, Team Takagi?
Is well defensively.
Yeah. I know Leicester have kept a lot of clean sheets this season, but even if they concede, they just look they're brilliant. For whatever reason, Lundstrom is still a midfielder. I don't know what. I mean, he's still a defender, even though he plays in midfield in fantasy football, so he gets my clean sheets.
Well, it's funny because Baldock is now they're playing midfield almost every week now.
They play. I think they're fullbacks. I mean, they play 3-5-2, so they probably push them further up.
They're a good side. I mean, they're almost like the Wolves of last season because
except Wolves are ahead of them.
Well, slightly.
Yeah.
Because last year the teams that got promoted, Cardiff and who's the other one? Huddersfield, maybe.
No, it wasn't Huddersfield. It was someone else. But
Cardiff went down, and the other team who got promoted went down too.
Yeah.
So Sheffield are the Wolves because Wolves stayed up and managed to get in Europa League.
Yeah.
And you could see it. I would say their strikers aren't amazing. That's the only thing. That McGoldrick, he kind of does everything apart from score. Like I've seen him. He's like his hold-up play is good.
Yeah.
He's like a Joe Linton who actually does something.
Well, most of the goals have come from defenders and midfielders.
Forward.
So Lamasset as a time did a few things.
He's a good player. But we'll see. Like they're doing well. They set up again to kind of like counter, and they're really good defensively. So they've caused a lot of upsets already. They almost got a result against Liverpool. Draw Man United. Beat Arsenal. I think Chelsea beat them, but Spurs drew, and they shouldn't have drew.
Did they beat Arsenal? Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Liverpool,
City. The City game, I think they just played them.
Yeah, 2-0.
2-0. But VAR. So anyway, fair play to Sheffield. They deserve. It's one of those teams like you like seeing it because unlike teams like Burnley, like.
We'll get on to Burnley in a second.
Anyway. They're not thugs. Like they're playing decent football. They're fun to watch. The manager's a decent guy.
We will get on to Burnley fairly soon. Let's quickly move on. So we've got a few teams to... Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace under Roy Hodgson. What do you think? I mean, fair play to... Roy seems to have sort of... I mean, I still remember when Crystal Palace were in danger, in massive danger, relegation fodder. They brought Roy Hodgson in. And I guess you could argue, are they one-trick pony because Wilfried Zaha is clutch for them? But
he's been the main man for a few years now, really, because Benteke, you can't really call him anything.
Yeah.
You know,
but
I'd maybe rather have Kane instead of Benteke. There you go. There's maybe one striker. He's been, and what a player as well. Is he going to be at another club soon?
Well, I mean, United have a buyback clause. To be honest, I would actually, I'd get Zaha.
Yeah.
Because United have a buyback clause with Zaha. So if we bought him, so if we paid, for example, like, I think it's like 40 million buyback. So you paid 70 million for him. We'd obviously get, like, it'd only be 30 million, for example. So, and he's a right winger. So for me, if there was a quick solution to solve this, are United's right winging solution, because Jadon Sancho is going to be ridiculously expensive for Dortmund. And unless there are options around, if a quick, I guess maybe Crystal Palace would resist selling him in January. But for me, he's Zaha now would be a good fit for Manchester on that right wing. He's definitely a lot better than we have.
Yeah.
Is Zaha better than Jesse Lingard, Andres Pereira, Juan Mata? Absolutely. I think the United fans in the chat would agree with me that Zaha is better than those three banter team players that we have right now.
And Jordan Ayew as well, playing well. We kind of thought that he just, it disappeared, but he's scored a couple of crucial goals.
Yeah.
So,
good
they look like a good team, to be honest. I don't know what their defence is like, but they don't concede that many.
No, they don't. No.
It's like West Ham. Tompkins,
that's the one.
Yeah.
Sacco
just got back, but Sacco's rash. Gets himself sent off all the time.
They're fine.
Fair enough. Right. Moving on from Crystal Palace. Everton. Everton, who are in 10th position right now. I promise you, we'll get to Arsenal. I promise you. But Everton, who are 10th. It's interesting because and this I guess is how close the Premier League is in terms of the quality, and that like before Pellegrini came, Everton were basically just above the relegation zone. They were literally just above the relegation zone.
They were in the relegation zone one stage.
So before Ancelotti came, they were in the relegation or just above or in it. And Ancelotti comes, and basically they get a draw against Arsenal, 2 wins, and now suddenly they're 10th place in the Premier League. I mean, what is this? You know what I mean? So it's but it just goes to show you that 3 or 4 games can change things, and it's not over till it's over.
It's true.
Unless you're Liverpool, in my opinion. But there we go. George B says none of them are right wingers. Pereira or Lingy. They're not. They're number 10s. I'm just saying them because they've often been shoved there because we don't actually have an actual right winger, as you'll see in one of my polls. But Everton have seemed to spark back. I mean, obviously they sacked Marcus Silva.
They were doing fine with Dunk, to be honest. I mean,
that is true, actually. Yeah,
they were doing fine.
He got them out of the bottom 3
because Dunk. They won their first game. They won with Dunk, and they drew with United. So if you look at Everton's last 5, they won. I can't remember who that was against. That was against. They won.
They won against Chelsea.
They drew United.
Drew against Arsenal.
Beat Burnley.
And beat
Newcastle. So the last 5 they've won 3, drawn 3.
That's good. That's good.
That's very good. The only person who's got better form than that is Liverpool.
Yeah, that's just disgusting.
So there you go. So you know that Everton might, when it gets to the Merseyside derby, they might turn it on. Who knows?
They got City next. That'll be an interesting game. They got City tomorrow.
I mean, that's not even that used to be a
tougher.
It's not anymore. Everybody's thinking, all right.
Yeah.
Wolves took 6.
Yeah.
Norwich took 3.
Exactly. Yeah. And obviously Ancelotti's played Pep Guardiola before, so to speak. Yeah. So that'll be an interesting subplot narrative, so to speak, and how we'll set things up. So Everton on the rise. Fair enough.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, says the Scouser. Yeah. Moving on. Wait a minute. Newcastle next. Let me look at this table.
It
Jeez, is it New?
It is.
Wow.
It is. Then it's Arsenal.
That is Arsenal. I literally thought after Everton was because I thought Arsenal were 11th, but actually it's Newcastle. It's Newcastle United. Newcastle. Wow.
Toon, Black White Army. Toon, Black White Army.
To be fair, and I think when we talked about relegation for the teams, I confess I was one of them. I'm sure I wasn't the only one that said because they sacked Rafa, Steve Bruce, Newcastle were going to be the first team to be on the list of going down. And yet this season, Newcastle, they've beaten United, they've beaten, they drew against City, they beat Spurs as well, I think. They beat West Ham away. They took some key points and won some solid games.
That's the thing. He's done it before. He's done it with Birmingham. You know, like he knows what to do with teams that are hovering. You know, that are kind of threatening to be put into that relegation zone. He's the perfect man to be there right now. He knows what to do. He knows how to get the players playing.
I mean, Hull. He did relegate Hull, which was another Northeast team, but I mean,
yeah. I don't know if he's got quality players there.
No, he didn't
though,
relegate Sunderland. I don't think he got sacked before he relegated Sunderland.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think I'm surprised just by the way that he's organised. He's obviously organised Newcastle.
Yeah.
So much so that they can. I don't think Newcastle are going to be relegated this season because of that.
Yeah.
And I do think that I don't know. I guess it's. I like he's brought in some youth. Obviously, the Longstaff brothers, Matty in particular, who's obviously fallen every United fan side. But I don't know. I guess it just surprised me that he would just go in and just do his job. I guess it shows just how much resilience maybe Newcastle sort of have, as a squad.
Yeah.
But Team Chicago, do you have anything to point before we move on from Newcastle and to your club? Hopefully. No. Okay.
Shake of the head.
Shake of the head. Newcastle going from strength to strength. So moving swiftly on. Finally, Arsenal Football Club in 12th place. We're just going to let Team Takagi speak for this one because we need to move ahead. But Team Takagi won. At the start of the season, obviously you said that Arsenal would
not finish in the top four if they didn't sign a defender.
They didn't sign a defender. But they did sign a defender, i.e. Darren Louise and other stuff like that. So they did sign defenders.
They did not sign defenders.
So,
They signed half a defender.
So did you think, and I know, of course, you're one of the fans that said, when the injuries come back, when, Chambers comes back, when Tierney comes back, when all these players come back.
Again.
It
doesn't
all these players
That's
come
not
back.
Valid. I know what I know you're trying to banter me
happen.
here.
There's no banter. There's no banter.
Sense.
All I'm just trying to say is that, did you expect that Arsenal Football Club would be, at this point in the season, in 12th place in the Premier League?
Well, Man United were not far off. So just before you needed pride before the fall. They were 11th not long ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, just pointing that out.
But we're 7 points ahead of you now.
Yeah, but that 7 points can close really quickly. If we beat you guys, if such and such plays. Anyway.
But then if we beat you guys, we'll be 10 points clear of you.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
Okay.
So he called it.
Yeah. He called it. Arsenal, according to Team Takagi, Arsenal will beat Manchester United.
Handed a transfer request, apparently.
So there you go.
Has he?
So Aubameyang has handed a transfer request.
He looked good last couple of games.
Yeah,
why would he do that?
He looks looks good.
Right.
Yeah, from the transfer window.
Real.
So Xhaka is obviously essentially.
No, I don't think he is. I don't think Xhaka is leaving.
Well, it looks like he's signed a thing with Hertha Berlin. So, but we'll see.
But yeah, before Old Man G was trying to banter, but it's not worked because the players that we got back from being injured have got injured again. I don't know if this was City, all these people, they'd be like, oh, but we've had so many injuries. We've had all this, this, and this. We've literally have, let me count, 1, 2, 3.
There's a lot of injuries.
I think we've got 7 first-team players injured.
Yeah.
Over this Christmas period. But it's kind of weird because we did sign a lot of players, right? But how can you prepare for 2 players in one position being injured? In the space of a week? You can't prepare for that.
So is that the reason? Is that the reason why Arsenal lost? Because of that, was that the reason why Arsenal lost to teams that they shouldn't have? A 12th position place. A 12th position place.
Some games are unlucky.
You know, let's. I get that.
Can I talk or
go on, go on. Go on, to
I thought you
one.
asked me the question.
Go on, to one.
Obviously, some games are unlucky, like the Chelsea game. Jorginho should have been sent off. Some other games, Norwich. I know. The game could have gone either way. Norwich could have beat us. We could have beat them. Picking up a lot of draws. That's another thing. I kind of don't mind if we lose because we beat Chelsea. I'm sorry, we lost to Chelsea, playing well, and I didn't really mind it, even though there was, Leno made that error, etc., etc. But I think come January, Arteta said he wants two central defenders, not just one. Whether we get that or not is a different matter because Emre apparently was asking for a right back, a wide player, and a centre back. He got David Luiz, Pepe. Like Pepe's, good, but he's not being played, so I don't know what that's all about.
So draws
right
drew with Wolves at home, drew with Southampton at home.
Yeah, a lot of draws.
Lost to Leicester City away, but that's it's Leicester City. But drew with Bournemouth at home.
Another draw.
Drew with Everton away. Lost to City 3-0. Drew with Norwich away. I mean, the Brighton game, losing that at home. I mean, so that's one of the things. Like, was that because of injuries? I mean, Brighton they get 2-1 to Arsenal.
We got 2 players injured in that game.
Yeah, right.
Kolasinac. Tierney was injured the game before against West Ham. Mike Dean didn't want to protect players.
Crystal Palace at home 2-2. Sheffield United lost away.
Man United draw.
Watford away draw. Spurs draw. So a lot of draws, but so I guess the question for Arsenal is how do you see Arsenal for the rest of the season?
It's almost like their undefeated Premier League run, like 20 draws
and being 12, but 12 draws, 12. So yeah. But where do you see Arsenal? What's going to happen to Arsenal?
Just like Ollie said, they're preparing for next season, aren't they?
Arsenal in a relegation fight.
Obviously not.
Are you sure?
Nobody
No one believes that. Are you sure? You don't think that Arsenal are in a relegation? So what is your expectation now for Arsenal Football Club this season? And then we'll move on.
No, just preparing for next season. We've got a new manager.
Mm-hmm.
So
just get like a system worked out that the players are going to be happy with.
Yeah, get players out that you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
Get players in who want to be there.
So it's going to be a busy summer.
Busy January, hopefully.
Okay. Right. So we'll leave Arsenal FC for 1 second. And quickly, we're going to have to spend a few minutes on that because we've got to head off fairly soon. Just on a few of these other teams. So obviously, this is Burnley. Burnley. I must confess I don't like Burnley at all. They're a horrible team to watch, and I wish they were further down this table, but they're 13th. Do we have to spend much on Burnley, to be honest?
I don't even know. Like, I mean, they've just got they've got a few bullies in there, and that's why they're not a likable team. It's just because it's almost like you think to yourself, oh man, how many of our players are going to get injured against these
Exactly.
And it's not fair. It's not fair to have that. To think to yourself, damn, oh my days, we've got Burnley. Like, cover your shins.
Yeah.
Get.
It just foul all the time, and it's just like. And
there's one player who I like, McNeil.
Yeah.
I think he came on against United, and he was like, he looked like someone who could actually
play football.
Yeah.
But Beardsley, who actually was at United,
Barnsley,
but left, thank God. But just they've got. Anyway, I'm moving on from Burnley. I don't think there's much to say from Burnley.
They're like the new Stoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Stoke got relegated.
Exactly.
So
same thing.
Sorry for any Burnley fans listening, but just no. Brighton 14th actually. Brighton Brighton were a team that actually put on the relegation thing because of their sacking of Chris Hughton. But to be fair to them, they've done all right.
Yeah.
They're a bit inconsistent, but you know.
So their manager from the Norwegian league won it with us. I don't know how to say that.
Ostersons, is it?
Yeah. So he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Same these Norwegians are doing something. Maybe we should have. Anyway.
See, I for 21 years I lived not far from Brighton.
Oh.
So like I've come into contact with a lot of Brighton fans, and I actually hate Brighton. I really dislike them. And it was always, they were always like saying, we're gonna come up into the Premiership, we're gonna kick your ass like that. So, and I had to put up with that for years and years and years. And now they're finally up in the Premiership and they haven't beaten us yet. And it's just every time we play them, I'm like, go on. Like, and I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I don't want to see him in there.
You don't want to see them in the Premier League.
Everton, Brighton, and Burnley get relegated this season.
It probably won't happen, unfortunately. But I think the manager is doing a good job, and I think they'll most likely probably be fine. In fact, Arsenal playing Brighton. Is it Arsenal? No. Arsenal. No, it's Chelsea are playing Brighton away. I think so it should be interesting. So because Brighton know how to play football and attack and play. It's just that they defend. Their defending is unfortunately a bit too suspect. Moving on, Southampton. Southampton have sort of picked up a bit of their stride in recent months. They've still got the same manager, but they've sort of started to build a bit of momentum. I think. So especially after what's that? Who did they beat? That was significant and big. Was it
Chelsea?
They're Chelsea. So I think they're still a relegation fodder type team, but it looks like Southampton aren't. They're doing okay. I think they're doing okay.
On the rise.
What do you think? Or should they be higher, Southampton, with the quality players there, with Raymond, with Ward-Prowse, with the quality they have? Should they not be higher?
I mean, the quality wasn't really because I was watching them 3-4 weeks ago. I was thinking to myself, they're awful, But they've just picked it up massively, and you could just see like what just a few good results means to a team. You can get yourself out of it really, really quickly. I mean, they've got Tottenham next tomorrow. They're playing against Tottenham, so we'll see how it goes. Good team. Like I don't think. I mean, it's not like they're like a Watford that's only got like a Troy Deeney and that's about it,
Troy Deeney.
Yeah.
We'll get to Watford in a second anyway. But I hear you. Moving swiftly on to Bournemouth, a team that I've always liked. Eddie Howe. I've always liked how Bournemouth played, but I am a bit worried because this is a team that because Team Takagi was talking about Arsenal players being injured, but for me this is a team that if there's any team that can complain about injuries, it's Bournemouth because they have had. For at least the majority of the season, they've had at least 7 or 8 of their first team players been injured, and obviously don't have the financial backings of other big clubs do. But Eddie Howe just continued going on about it, and I think that their win against Chelsea gave them a bit of positivity around. And to be fair, they've beaten Chelsea and United this season. Have they beaten Arsenal yet? Was it a draw? It was a draw against Arsenal. So they've actually taken points from the big teams usually.
Yeah.
And it does give them a bit of momentum. So, but I guess the question for Bournemouth for the rest of the season is: do you think Bournemouth could go down here?
Also had a lot of injuries. Like a lot of the people that you see on the screen there that they've had some sort of knock. Harry Wilson. Even David Brooks, who was really good. I remember he was in the previous team a lot because he was like a playmaker. He's still injured for a while. Callum Wilson gone. So Fraser gone, just King,
come back.
I believe
King was injured a few times. Ake, I think it's difficult for them.
Huge, massive. That's it. And if I don't think they look like a relegation team.
Okay.
So I wouldn't not compared to some of the others that are down there anyway. You've even West Ham have picked it up a little bit, but still, I don't know. Bournemouth look like a quality team a lot of the time. So I wish them all the best. Rather them than Brighton.
Team Takagi, anything about Bournemouth?
Nah, just really unlucky to be honest. With the injuries, I think them and Arsenal probably have the most injuries. But they've got Bournemouth they just lost to Brighton, didn't they? I think they got West Ham next, so David Moyes coming in.
Yeah,
but they're probably like, damn, like wish
exactly.
Pellegrini was still there.
Exactly.
But we'll see what they're made of.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Right. Okay. Moving on. West Ham. I think this is sorry. West Ham United. West Ham United are basically above the relegation zone. They've obviously sacked Pellegrini, and they've got David Moyes in. I don't think anyone. I think we know West Ham have been bad,
and they're down.
they should have stuck with him, shouldn't they?
Pellegrini.
No, Moyes. Moyes kept them up.
That is true. It's true.
And more than that, like they were finished what?
I mean, I must confess, I am quite disappointed with Pellegrini. I thought Pellegrini and West Ham did spend money. They spent quite a lot of money, So like, it wasn't like he didn't back them. Maybe he didn't get the players he wanted, like a lot of teams did. But they did spend money.
Yeah.
He was backed, and to be like 18, just above the relegation zone with a manager. Because I think Pellegrini is a good manager. So it's strange. I think something just isn't quite right with the situation.
Yeah, like the team, like philosophy, just didn't quite like that. It's a London team, so just the whole thing about playing football. West Ham are almost best just sticking with the counter attack rather than just the whole thing about passing it through.
They're not good at it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not. Don't hoof it up there because that's also not good. But at the same time, yeah, you're almost best just like telling them, look, let's go back to counter attacking because that's what West Ham were good at, and that's what they were always doing. But we'll see what happens now that Moyes is there. He'll have his own stamp on it, wouldn't he?
It's just strange. It's very, very, very strange. Very, very strange because
don't try and play football, West Ham. Just stick to what you're good at.
Stick to what you're good at. Right. Moving on from West Ham, we're now in the relegation zone now, and so we're Villa. Villa, one of the teams that obviously that come up into the Premier League, and I think Villa in recent times have been struggling. They've got good players. They are only a point behind West Ham, though they played an extra game, but they are a team that are now struggling. So that we for safer time, I'll just ask a simple question: can Villa survive or not?
I don't know. I think they're a one-club player.
Grealish, you mean?
Yeah, but I will admit, when Tyrone Mings got injured, their defence looked awful.
Yeah.
And Tyrone Mings, I think he was at Bournemouth.
Yeah, he was at Bournemouth. Yeah.
He was actually a left back, so interesting he's playing centre back. Yeah, I think he got injured a couple of games ago against. It wasn't Liverpool. It was someone, can't remember now. Leicester, I think it was. And when he's not there, you can see what they're like. They're not good at all defensively. Like they conceded 4 against Leicester, and that was the game he got injured. 2 against Sheffield United, 3 against Southampton, and then 3 versus Watford. But I think Mings is coming back, so they're only 18th. To be fair, one win would take them above Bournemouth. If
that's true.
That would take them out of relegation zone. So
that's true.
I still think they're a one-club player, though. They need a bit more to rely on Jack Grealish. It's almost like they need him to be injured or something for them to be like, right, guys, we need to step it
play.
up. They've got Burnley next, so if they can stop the aerial balls and
Grealish is injured,
Grealish might not fancy that game. He might be waxing his legs or something. So, but yeah.
Moving on from Villa, Watford, who were at the bottom of the table at one point. Obviously, they've been through
for a while.
Well, they've been through 2 managers. I think they obviously sacked the first manager in the season. They went back to Chico Flores, who they sacked previously, and then they sacked him again. So he's had like a double sack almost on Watford. And now they've got Nigel Peterson in, who seems to have given them a bit of a bounce. They picked up a few. They're only 3 points to get out of the relegation zone. Obviously, they beat United. they should have beaten Liverpool, quite frankly, if Sarr could actually not air kick, to be honest. So like, I just don't know what was going on there.
Yeah, it's just pressure, isn't it? It's just like you're in front of the cop. You got to hit it sweet, otherwise, because you got Allison to beat. So yeah, just
air kicks it, man.
Yeah,
It's just banned. But they had others. They were pressing. I guess the point is that, and I'll keep it quick, just because obviously of time. So, but do you think that Watford can survive? Because they're doing well under Manager Peterson. Will they get relegated or not?
Yeah, I'm looking at the table there. Like they've done better than Villa. So Villa have had an atrocious run. So it's between it's now you've got like them 5 teams. So it's like Bournemouth, West Ham, Villa, Watford, Norwich.
Yeah.
Any one of them can make it out of there. Who's got the biggest fight in them? That's the sort of talk you want to say to them guys in just before a game. Just like say, look, it's either us or them. Like who's got the most fight? Go out there and get some grit into your teeth and just grind the results out. Watford can do it. They're capable of doing it. Yeah, more so than Villa, I'd imagine.
Fair enough. We have to watch obviously the space. I mean, there's only really 6 points from 18th to 12th, basically.
Yeah.
So that's just 2 wins. So suddenly, you're in relegation. You're out of the relegation zone. It's not, and so we will see. So lastly, is Norwich. Norwich City. I feel for Norwich because I feel that Norwich. I genuinely believe that Norwich plays some really nice football, nice to watch, and that they've been so hard done by. Partly because the defense isn't great. They've had some very good wins. The most famous one being Manchester City.
Yeah.
But even the way they played against Arsenal, the way they played against
Liverpool,
the way they played against Chelsea, the way they played most teams, where they haven't been able to fully get those points.
Yeah.
They've just been very hard done by, I think, especially by VAR in particular. I guess like the other teams, simple question: do you think they will stay up or not?
I don't know. Yeah,
Norwich.
They're not scoring enough, are they? They got to bang some goals in.
I think they are scoring. I think the issue is that they can't defend. They keep conceding too many goals.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, when I watched the Spurs game, they look really, really good.
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm honest, like, I know it looks like a weird table because there's people are dropping points left, right, and centre, but the quality's actually improved if you think about it. As in, the lower teams are getting better.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Obviously, I mean, Norwich, you don't beat people by luck. The way Norwich played City was perfect. Put them on the counter attack. Same with Wolves. They, Villa beat someone pretty crucial this season. So lower teams are taking points off people that we haven't really seen.
Yeah. No,
last season, who did City lose to? Everton, which is fair enough, isn't it?
They lose to Everton.
Yeah, they lost to Everton. They lost to Everton.
Crystal Palace,
was it Newcastle?
They lost to Newcastle, yes, City.
Yeah. So but you can kind of see. Yeah, and then Liverpool. But you could say that's kind of fair enough. You might think those.
City didn't lose to Liverpool last season.
Wasn't it 4-1?
No. So, that's how City.
No, they did.
City drew.
Oh yeah, you're right.
City drew with Liverpool at Anfield, and then they didn't beat you at the Etihad.
That's the one, yeah. So the quality has actually improved. So the fact that when I watched Norwich play Spurs, I was like, if you can do that against Spurs, why aren't you doing it against other teams? And they kind of are. Just they're not doing it for 90 minutes, So that's the difference. They've honestly been unlucky. And the Pookie goal should have been onside anyway. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know how that. He came back from offside position.
Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, no Pookie, no party. I mean, if he keeps scoring and if they manage to defend that win, you never know. You genuinely never know. So.
And just my earlier statement there, there's probably them 5 teams at the bottom. What are you made of? Yeah,
that's true, and I agree with you on the right that I can't see a team in this league this season that I could say is what I call relegation fodder team in terms of the performance. I remember those things when Aston Villa just kept on losing games. Sunderland just pitiful performances.
Yeah.
But this season, when you look at the bottom three, look at them, I'm like, not really. Norwich City don't play like their relegation team. Watford now aren't playing like their relegation team. Villa, to be honest, they're struggling, but they're not playing like terribly. And you go above that. To be honest, the teams that I've seen have been played pitifully. You could argue a West Ham. Well, mostly West Ham, if I'm honest. although to be fair, they've had some good results. They beat Chelsea, obviously, and at times Arsenal, frankly. But obviously they're going to relegated. So yeah, I think Team Takagi-1 is right. The quality of the league has gotten get better. There's obviously a chasm between first and everybody else, as we know. So let's just quickly go for just the other topics. I don't think we'll have time to preview the upcoming games, so I just want to just go do two more things. I think the first thing is just VAR. Team Takagi-1, Shawnee. Quick statement on how you think VAR has been and where do you think it's going.
My statement is really, really quick. And it's what I said a couple of podcasts ago, which is just you got to give it time. You can't just get rid of it at first. They'll get better at it. They'll fine tune it. It'll become better. And don't banter me in the chat and just like say, oh, it's because you just always. I mean, they've all been right decisions. They've all been the correct decision, and it's just they'll make it so it will be faster. It's just the first season. It'll come good.
Don Rang says, right, G, timely to bounce. New Year celebration starting. Peace out. Happy New Year to you, buddy. Man. Happy New Year to you, buddy. Happy New Year to everyone who is in the New Year or going to be New Year now. Happy New Year to everyone. I'll be doing a thanks video sometime tomorrow actually as well. But Happy New Year to everyone that will be watching or will be watching soon. Georgia B says, VAR's been misused. Team Takagi-1, what's your thoughts on VAR?
Yeah, this is first season, so it has not been great, but they'll get, I would say 95% of the decisions they've got right at the end of the day. I'd like to see it used a bit better for not just penalties and offsides. I'd like to see like fouls too, because like they'll check like possible red card, but they won't check like second yellow sometimes, I've noticed. Yeah, so they'll do like straight red, but not second yellow, when there's clearly been some nasty tackles which deserve to.
I think the clouds has come. Georgia B said 10 seconds max to view any play, no more drawing lines offsides. I think, as I said, I think to a few people before, for me the issue is that the issue with VAR is not VAR itself. The issue is with the laws. So what's happened when we introduce technology into a game is that we've used technology to help referees enforce laws. What this actually has exposed is that a lot of laws were not actually being enforced, if that makes any sense. So there were laws like, for example, encroachment into the box while taking a penalty. That is a law. If you encroach into the penalty box, the penalty taker can retake the penalty. But because there was no way, people weren't really checking it, it was sort of like it never got enforced because people weren't really checking it because it was difficult to do it while keeping an eye on everything. Technology gives us that ability to do it, and so suddenly you're seeing that penalty being retaken, etc., etc. So for me, the issue is not so much with Dembele going to Chelsea. That's interesting. I don't think they need him. It's with the laws, and I don't think that when people say, I guess the point I'm trying to make is when people say scrap VAR, it's not that the laws are going to change. It makes sense. The laws are still going to be there, so you're still going to so scrapping VAR is not going to somehow bring about consistency, because all it bringing VAR has helped is it's helped to bring consistency to the inconsistent. Now you scrap VAR and you just bring back inconsistency with referees. So some referees will be great, will be able to do an offside and it'll be fine, linesmen, so on. So other linesmen won't be able to, and you'll have the inconsistency.
Yeah.
And I end with this for me anyway. That for me, the big thing for me with VAR is the fact that it's almost effectively obliterated cheating. Almost.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think I've seen a penalty awarded for a dive in a box.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
Yeah.
and I don't care what anyone says, but for me, the greatest injustice is I remember was it's Italy World Cup 2006 where they won the World Cup and they basically cheated all the way. They dived. You see it. You see the replay.
Yeah.
You see the dive against Australia. No contact. It's 1-0. Australia actually played well. They're knocked out by Italy in that round.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't care how long it takes for them to come a decision. If it comes to it where you're in a Champions League final and someone dives for a penalty and they get it, and that's the reason why you win a trophy, and you have technology to look at a play and go, that's a dive, yellow card.
Yeah.
You put the technology in. There's no questions to me about scrapping or anything like that, because you can't give a team a trophy that has cheated to win the game.
Yeah.
It just can't. It just
true.
can't.
So what's your verdict on VAR?
Like I said, I think for me, VAR is. I think the issue is not with VAR.
Yeah.
The issue is with the laws.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So people's issue. It's like, it's marginal. It's sort of like, what's marginal offside?
Yeah, it's
What's on the
offside.
side? You know. So if you change the law, for example, offside, and say, if, for example, an attack, so long as all of it, if something like any part of attacker's body is off, it doesn't have to be all of or something like that. Just change certain tweaks, then it doesn't become a problem. So, for example, or if it's just the scoring part, so forget about arms or exclude arms, something like that you could tweak, then you've got no problem.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But if you tweak that, and then there's no problem with VAR anymore.
Yeah.
The issue has always been the laws, in my opinion.
So, for sure.
Does anyone have anything to add to that? So, no. Okay. Lastly, because I said we don't unfortunately have time to review any previous fixtures, so we'll probably be doing a review of them. But I want to end with this segment, and that is the BANTER Academy and what I call the Icon Academy. And I'll be doing a couple of videos about this. We'll have a discussion about it here, and I'll be posting some videos as we nominate certain candidates for these trophies or places. But basically, let's start with and I'll name, and I want at least maybe, let's say, we have to have different tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And I want each of you guys to nominate at least three candidates. We'll start with the BANTER Academy first. So 3 candidates who you think should be nominated into tier 3. That's the lowest academy. Lowest.
Is this any like managers, players?
Yeah, anything. Managers, players, just in the entity of football for me. Entity of football. From all aspects of football. What would be in the back? So nominate 3 in the lower tier.
Okay.
So that's tier 3.
Possibly Coutinho.
Okay. I mean, we need to write these down as well, actually. So tier 3 is the lowest. I haven't remembered. Tier 3 is the lowest of. So the highest, as in absolute banter, is tier 1. So tier 3, tier 2, tier 1.
Okay, yeah, right. Oh my goodness, it's quite tough.
Yeah. 3. I'm gonna jot these down as well, actually, so because I'll be making some videos on these.
Yeah. Okay.
So Sean, you're saying Coutinho.
I felt if he would have stayed for another 2 or 3 seasons, maybe.
Yeah. You don't have to give a justification for it. So just you think Coutinho because.
Cool.
Okay. Anyone else?
Perhaps if I can bring Arsenal into the skin.
Okay. You're putting Arsenal at tier 3.
Oh no, not Arsenal. I was just gonna point out Emery.
Emery at tier 3. I mean, I would have put him at tier 2, but
yeah,
fair enough. Emery at tier 3. Fair enough.
And I need to think. I might maybe come back to me with my last one. I might have to think.
Team Takage 1. Teams at tier.
I'd put Coutinho in there too.
Okay. You need to have your own unique ones.
Oh, okay. tier 3, so that's
Yeah.
like lowest, isn't it?
Yes, yeah,
Put
yeah.
David De Gea in there.
No, come on.
David De Gea, get yourself in there.
How can David De Gea be a tier
Get
3?
yourself in there.
No, I'm gonna block that. How can David De Gea be a tier? How can be for
He's
what?
had some shocking performances this season.
Not a tier 3.
Like
Come on.
more than one as well. Tier 3 is lowest, right?
Huh? Tier 3 is the
Yeah,
lowest.
so that's fine.
What?
Yeah, he's had some howlers. I think it's probably anyway.
There has to be a consensus with us with
Sean?
for 3. Yeah.
Is that alright to put in?
No, us, all 3 of us.
Oh yeah, well majority vote, isn't it?
Majority vote. De Gea.
You can't put De Gea in tier.
Why not?
You can't put De Gea in tier 3. No, because United are 5th. But so you can't put a team. You're saying that he's had howlers, but United are still 5th place.
What's that got to do with anything?
Because it means that like clearly his performances have outweighed his good performances have outweighed his performances.
I mean,
You can't put.
I wouldn't say it's down to him though. I'd say it's a team thing.
No, but like out of the goal, but if we look at your conceded goals, he's made mistakes, but like United have still conceded less goals than the majority of top 6 teams. So like you can't. It's like saying okay, right.
Right. Okay. I guess we're not allowed to.
No, you are, but like
I'll think of someone else.
I just think that like you have to have a justification for putting him.
Well, you're going to put Arsenal players in.
No, I'm not going to put. I was going to put Emery. Emery for me was it wasn't Arsenal per se. It was Unai Emery, but he's going to be in a higher tier. The only Arsenal player I was thinking of was David Luiz in tier 3 probably.
Yeah, tier 3, David Luiz. That's. There was the last game that I saw him at. There was a couple of times where I thought to myself, "Damn, that's a bit harsh what he's doing."
But I wouldn't put David Luiz if Arsenal were like in top 5 or 6.
Yeah,
because they must be. But the fact that they're 12,
yeah,
as a defender, because they've been conceding some of the goals, means to me that's banter.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Banter Academy. Yeah, I think I've listed 2, so I'll let
Okay.
you guys go first.
So team Takagi. So you want to put David De Gea then? Do you?
No, I'll do the other tiers.
Okay.
You can do this one.
Okay, so you're not having any other tiers. Okay, we're gonna let me know in the comments, guys. So far we have tier 3 with Coutinho, Emery. I put David Luiz in tier 3. This is not just the Premier League, by the way. This is anywhere.
So Coutinho, I think is
I'm putting Valverde in tier 3 as well.
Well, yeah.
Is that reasonable?
That's
I'm
fair.
putting Valverde in tier 3 because I'm still not sure how he's doing. He's in tier 3. I don't understand Valverde sometimes.
Maybe AC Milan.
No, come on, tier 3. AC Milan needs at least upper tier 2, if not tier 1. I think so.
Okay.
Like we'll come.
Come to that in a minute. Okay.
And then I was gonna say Niko Kovac, Bayern Munich. I think. Is that harsh for lower tier 3?
Lower tier 3.
Lower tier 3. So lower tier 3. So Kovac. Anyone else in a tiers that people think VAR in the Premier League can be in tier 3, I think.
Yeah, it's quite tough. I can't really think of any because it's harsh even putting Coutinho in there because I like him. It's just I think he just should have stayed. Like
what about Eden Hazard?
Ooh,
He hasn't played much.
yeah.
So no, been injured. Okay. Thinking anyone else that could grace the grace the tiers. Okay, let's move on from tier 3 quickly to we'll just say everyone give like maybe 2 nominations of 3 because it's a bit too much for 3 and I'll 2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
So tier 2, so slightly more banter. What do you think?
Tier 2. Now we can talk De Gea maybe.
In all seriousness, guys. What?
Let's have a little look at. So, like, I mean, really, you could almost throw Bayern Munich in there because they're just. Where are they now?
They're 4th.
Yeah, 4th. Okay.
No,
so maybe it up a little bit.
Yeah,
last time they were like 7th.
Yeah.
That's quite great because they've spent a lot of money.
This is why I think AC Milan needs to come in.
AC Milan, yeah.
I think you need to at least induct AC Milan, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least in
tier 2, AC Milan.
West Ham for me need to go here as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think.
West
I
Ham,
think for
maybe,
the amount of money that they spent and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and
that's
just
true.
so that I think West Ham Football Club need to be in this in tier 2 at least.
If Everton was still,
If Everton was
third
still,
from bottom,
yeah, then I would. But I think with Dunk and stuff like that, I think they've just.
Filthy animals, man. Really, they really are. They should still be there. Like, I mean, they weren't playing well at all.
I think what the Chico Flores to me goes into tier 2.
Yeah,
I just
true.
feel like the fact that
I don't know about that. He's had a lot of personal issues.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, yeah, okay.
Oh, that's true. Actually,
okay,
yeah.
So we'll say
he lost his brother, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible.
What about the German national team? I feel like
not doing too bad.
Are they not?
Are they in the Nations League semi-final or something? Or
no, they didn't even get through to the Nations League thing at all. No. Any national teams that could go into this tier? Scotland. Okay,
Scotland.
yeah, Scotland national team. Is that a consensus? Scotland national football.
Yeah, especially because they've got Andy Robbo.
Yeah, Scotland Football Club, tier 2 at least. Let's have two more.
Two more for tier 2.
I've got my tier 1 already in. Do you want to put the Arsenal? Actually, you know what? Ed Woodward. I've said that as Manchester United. Ed Woodward goes in tier 2 as a banter recruitment. Ed Woodward can go right there. So
fair enough. Just trying to think. What is quite tough.
It's quite though. I'll let you guys think about it. So I think we'll probably do icons next and I'll let you guys think about it before we start the podcast. But as far as remaining of tier 2 goes,
okay.
We should go to tier 1 now. That'll be easier.
Tier 1.
Okay, let's go to tier 1.
David Luiz.
David Luiz is already in tier 3.
Oh,
tier 3. Yeah.
De Gea.
This is for like ultimate. For me, the two things that come into my mind are one, Syria's anti-racism campaign. That for me is that the apron moving. That for me is so Syria basically like leadership for that ape monkey thing. And then 2
That's
is
true. Does anyone? There must still be like people talking about that. Like, can I rethink that?
I don't know what they just. I think they've drawn publicity away from it. So.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, the other canon was the Napoli president, the guy who basically caused a mutiny of the entire squad, and basically attempted to sack all of 11 players.
Yeah.
Like those are for me the 2 big things in my mind that come under those on the tier 1 at least. Syria leadership. So basically from Syria, AC Milan could be tier 1 as well, but they've signed Zlatan, so maybe who knows? So we'll see how Zlatan does. That's why they're in tier 2. Is there anyone else you think should be in tier 1?
Tier 1.
It's got to be the most banterful. The most banterful. And then we'll in the chat. Georgia B. Ed's top tier. Ed Woodward. Ed Woodward's got. We'll see January transfer window, man. Georgia B. January transfer window. If he signs anyone in January,
he could get promoted. Then
he could be. You can get. You can move between these different categories. Neymar on general principles. Neymar. He's been quite quiet. I don't know. It's difficult. I won't put him in either banter or icon yet. There's players that will just not be in either academies. These are the special things. But I see your thing on general principles of Neymar, but I do feel that they've been them and others.
Can I just say that we were praising Zaha, and he's only got 1 assist this season. Probably because there's no one to. I mean, he's got.
They haven't scored many goals.
Yeah,
they've not scored a lot.
Yeah.
You're not putting Crystal Palace in tier 1, are you?
Oh no, definitely not. I was just looking at the assists, and I didn't realise that he only had 1 assist. That's pretty. pretty low, that really, isn't it, for someone that's a winger?
Georgia B, do you have any candidates that you put in these tiers? Does anyone have any other tier 1 candidates? I'm just trying to think of the BANTER. There's got to be.
Yeah, I'm
There's
going
got to
through
be.
the
Those are
Arsenal
the two
team.
that I've got to be honest. But I wouldn't put any of the Arsenal players in tier 1 as far as there's not, because the league has been so competitive. I wouldn't put any of the Arsenal players there.
Yeah.
You could maybe put Stan Kroenke in tier 1 if you wanted to, but so Stan Kroenke in tier 1, is he? You know, so Stan Kroenke. No signings. Haaland was Ed's only target. I hope you're wrong, George B. I hope you're wrong. I really, really, really do. We'll be doing transfer dailies daily.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. So we'll come back to this actually. So we've got a few tiers. Let me know what you think in the comments as well. So, and then I'll be posting videos regularly updating these banter mechanics, and hopefully everyone will come prepared next time for their specific candidates to go in their tiers. That's it, guys. We have to finish. Thank you so much for everyone watching. Have a happy new year again as well. It's bye from
Shawnee.
Have a nice day, guys. If you're new to or be listening to this podcast, please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Keep on getting involved into this chat. Smash that notification button for the latest football related news. Have a nice evening, guys, and cheers.